Where the moonlight exposed her, the alpha howled and she fell deeply. Chapter 1. The moonlight had never been her enemy before tonight. Mia pressed herself against the rough bark of the ancient oak, her breath coming in sharp, painful gasps as she listened to the sounds of pursuit growing closer. The forest was alive with howls, deep, primal, terrifying. And somewhere among them was the one howl that made her blood sing and her heart race for entirely different reasons. The alpha. She'd seen him. God's help her, she'd seen everything. Hey there, night owls and story lovers. Welcome back to another absolutely wild ride here on the channel. I am so excited you found your way here tonight. Seriously, where in the world are you watching from? Drop your location in the comments. Are you cozy in bed? Sneaking this during your lunch break? I want to know. And how are you doing today? If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button because trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next in this story. This channel is all about those intense, emotional, totally addictive tales that keep you up way past your bedtime, and your support means absolutely everything to me. Now let me tell you about Mia because her night just went from bad to absolutely catastrophic in ways she never could have imagined. Mia Carter had always been ordinary. Painfully, frustratingly ordinary. 26 years old, working as a photographer for a nature magazine, living in a cramped apartment in Seattle with a cat named Pixel and a social life that could generously be described as non-existent. Her life was routine, predictable, safe. Until tonight. Until she followed that strange light deep into the Olympic National Forest, camera in hand, hoping to capture whatever rare phenomenon was causing the trees to glow with an ethereal silver luminescence. Until she'd stumbled into a clearing bathed in moonlight so bright it seemed almost alive. Until she'd seen them transform. Mia's hands trembled as she clutched her camera to her chest, the memory replaying in her mind with crystalline clarity. She'd been setting up her shot, adjusting her lens to capture the way the moonlight filtered through the ancient trees, when the first one had appeared. A massive wolf, easily the size of a small bear, with fur the color of midnight and eyes that glowed amber in the strange light. It had been beautiful and terrifying, and Mia had frozen, knowing that running would only trigger its predatory instincts. But then the wolf had begun to change. Bones had shifted with sounds that made Mia's stomach churn. Fur had receded into skin. The creature had risen onto two legs, growing taller, broader, until a man stood where the wolf had been. A naked man, all corded muscle and primal power, tilting his head back to howl at the moon. And he hadn't been alone. One by one they'd emerged from the forest, 7, 8, 9 of them. Wolves transforming into humans in a display that shattered everything Mia thought she knew about the world. She should have run then, should have grabbed her camera and disappeared into the darkness. But then he had appeared. The alpha. Mia had known what he was the moment she saw him, even before the others had bowed their heads in deference. He was larger than the rest, his wolf form a stunning silver gray that seemed to capture and reflect the moonlight itself. When he transformed, rising from fur and fang into human form, Mia's breath had stopped entirely. He was the most beautiful man she'd ever seen. Tall, easily 6'4", with broad shoulders and a physique that spoke of raw power barely contained. His hair was the same silver gray as his wolf form, falling to his shoulders in waves that caught the light. Sharp cheekbones, a strong jaw and eyes, even in human form. His eyes had held that predatory amber glow that made her feel simultaneously terrified and drawn to him in ways that defied logic. And then those eyes had locked onto hers. Mia had forgotten to breathe, forgotten to move, forgotten everything except the way he'd looked at her. Surprise had flashed across his features, followed by something that looked almost like recognition, though that was impossible. They'd never met. She would have remembered. Alpha, one of the others had said, his voice carrying easily across the clearing. We have a witness. The word had broken the spell. Mia had stumbled backward, her camera falling from nerveless fingers, and that small sound, the crack of expensive equipment hitting the forest floor, had been all it took. Run, the alpha had said, his voice deep and rough, carrying a command that went straight to Mia's bones. But he hadn't been talking to her. He'd been talking to his pack. And they'd obeyed. Now, 40 minutes later, Mia was lost in a forest she knew well in daylight, but which had become a labyrinth of shadows and danger in the dark. The howls were getting closer, the sound of multiple wolves on the hunt, and she knew with absolute certainty that they would catch her. The only question was what they would do when they did. A branch snapped to her left and Mia bolted, abandoning her hiding spot and running blindly through the underbrush. Thorns tore at her clothes, branches whipped across her face, and her lungs burned with the effort of drawing breath. But she couldn't stop because the alternative was. She burst into another clearing and skidded to a halt so abruptly she nearly fell. He was there. The alpha stood in the center of the moonlit space, now clothed in dark jeans and a shirt that did nothing to hide the power of his frame. He must have retrieved clothing from somewhere, which meant he'd planned this, anticipated where she would run. Please, Mia gasped, backing away even as her treacherous body wanted to move closer. Please, I won't tell anyone. I'll delete the photos, I'll forget everything I saw. You took photos? His voice was calm, almost conversational, which was somehow more terrifying than anger would have been. Mia's hand went to her camera bag and her heart sank. In her panic, she'd left the camera behind, but her backup, a smaller digital camera she kept for candid shots, was still in the bag slung across her body. I'll destroy them. I swear I'll. What's your name? The question caught her off guard. What? Your name? He took a step closer, and Mia took a step back, maintaining the distance between them even as something in her chest ached at the separation. Tell me your name. Mia, she whispered, then cursed herself for answering. Why was she answering? Why wasn't she running? Mia. The way he said it, like he was tasting it, testing how it felt in his mouth, made heat flood through her body despite her fear. I'm Liam. I don't care what your name is. I just want to go home and pretend this never happened. His lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. I'm afraid that's not possible. The howls were closer now, and Mia could see shapes moving in the forest beyond the clearing, the pack surrounding them cutting off any escape. What are you going to do to me? Mia asked, proud that her voice only shook a little. Liam studied her with those unsettling amber eyes, and for a long moment, he didn't answer. Then he tilted his head, as if listening to something she couldn't hear, and when he spoke, his words changed everything. I'm going to keep you safe, he said quietly, because whether you realize it or not, Mia, you're in more danger than you know. And I'm not talking about my pack. Before she could ask what he meant, one of the other wolves, still in animal form, burst into the clearing, its lips pulled back in a snarl that revealed teeth designed to tear and rend. Liam moved faster than Mia's eyes could follow, placing himself between her and the threat. He didn't transform, didn't even shift his stance much, but the growl that rumbled from his chest was pure predator, pure dominance. The wolf immediately dropped to its belly, whining. She's under my protection, Liam said, his voice carrying absolute authority. Anyone who touches her answers to me. Spread the word. The wolf slunk away and Liam turned back to Mia. The moonlight fell across his features, highlighting the sharp angles of his face, the intensity in his eyes, and Mia felt something shift inside her chest. Something that felt dangerously like fate clicking into place. Come with me, he said, extending his hand. I'll explain everything. But we need to move. Now. Mia looked at that outstretched hand, at the man who was both her greatest fear and somehow inexplicably, making her feel safer than she had in years. Every rational instinct screamed at her to refuse, to demand he let her go, to fight her way to freedom. But there was something in his eyes, something that looked almost like desperation beneath the calm exterior, that made her pause. If I go with you, she heard herself say, do you promise I'll make it home alive? Liam's expression softened just slightly. I promise that I'll do everything in my power to keep you safe. But Mia? After what you saw tonight, home might not mean what it used to. The world is bigger and stranger than you knew. And there are things in it far more dangerous than a pack of werewolves. That's not reassuring. It's honest. He kept his hand extended. That's all I can give you right now. Honesty and protection. The question is, do you trust me enough to take them? Mia looked at his hand, then at his face, then at the dark forest surrounding them where she could feel eyes watching from the shadows. She thought about her small apartment, her ordinary life, the comfortable ignorance she'd lived in for 26 years. And she thought about the way her heart had stopped when she first saw him transform. Not just from fear but from something else. Something that felt like recognition, like her soul had been waiting for this moment. For him her entire life. It was insane. Impossible. Completely illogical. But when Mia placed her hand in Liam's, feeling his fingers close around hers with surprising gentleness, it felt like the most natural thing in the world. Okay, she whispered. But if this is a mistake, you have my permission to say I told you so for the rest of your very long life. The corner of his mouth quirked up. Because once you're pack, Mia, you're pack forever. I'm not pack. I'm not even a werewolf. Liam's smile widened, showing teeth that were just slightly too sharp. Not yet. But the night is young, and the moon is full, and you've already seen things that can't be unseen. Welcome to your new life, Mia Carter. I hope you're ready for it. He tugged her hand gently, and Mia found herself following him into the forest, leaving behind everything she'd known and stepping into a world of moonlight and monsters, and a man whose touch made her forget why she should be afraid. Behind them, the pack howled in unison, a sound of welcome or warning or both, and the moon shone down on them like a spotlight, exposing everything, hiding nothing, transforming the ordinary into the extraordinary. And somewhere deep in Mia's chest, something wild and previously unknown began to wake up and answer the call. Chapter 2, Character Foundation. The safe place Liam brought her to was a compound deep in the forest, so well hidden that Mia would never have found it without guidance. As they approached, motion sensor lights flickered on, revealing a sprawling collection of buildings that looked more like a small village than what she'd expected. There was a main lodge built from massive logs, its windows glowing with warm light. Surrounding it were smaller cabins, what looked like a community center, and even a building that appeared to be some kind of medical facility. Everything was beautifully maintained, blending seamlessly into the forest landscape as if it had grown there naturally. "This is the SilverwoodPack territory," Liam explained as he led her toward the main lodge. "We've been here for over 100 years. Most of the pack lives on the compound, though some maintain residences in the nearby towns." "How many of you are there?" Mia asked, trying to process everything she was seeing. 73 members currently. He held the door open for her, and warmth spilled out into the night air. "You'll meet most of them eventually, but tonight we'll keep it small. I don't want to overwhelm you." Inside, the lodge was stunning. Exposed beam ceiling soared overhead. A massive stone fireplace dominated one wall, and comfortable furniture arranged in conversational groups made the space feel welcoming despite its size. But Mia barely registered the decor because there were people, lots of people, all turning to stare at her as she entered. "Alpha," a woman said, rising from one of the couches. She was stunning, with long auburn hair and green eyes that assessed Mia with cool interest. "You brought her here?" She witnessed a transformation. "Charlotte. What would you have me do? Kill her?" Liam's voice was mild, but there was steel underneath. Charlotte's eyes flashed. "That's been the protocol for centuries. Then maybe it's time to update our protocols." Liam's hand was still on Mia's lower back, a possessive touch that didn't escape Charlotte's notice. "Mia is under my protection. That makes her pack business, and pack business is my decision." The tension in the room was thick enough to cut with a knife. Mia counted at least 15 people watching this exchange, their expressions ranging from curious to hostile. She wanted to disappear, to wake up from this nightmare. But Liam's steady presence beside her was the only anchor keeping her from complete panic. "Everyone, this is Mia Carter," Liam announced, his voice carrying easily through the space. "She's a photographer who happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. She saw our transformation ritual, which means we have two choices. Integrate her or isolate her permanently. I've chosen integration." "You can't be serious," a man said from the back of the room. He was massive, with a shaved head and arms covered in intricate tattoos. "She's human. She doesn't belong here. She belongs where I say she belongs, Cole." Liam's eyes flashed amber, a clear warning. "Or do you want to challenge my authority on this?" Cole dropped his gaze immediately. "No, Alpha." "Good." Liam's hand pressed more firmly against Mia's back. "Mia will be staying in one of the guest cabins. She's free to move around the compound, but she doesn't leave without my permission. Anyone who has a problem with that can take it up with me directly." The message was clear. Challenging Mia meant challenging Liam himself. "Now if you'll excuse us, Mia needs food, rest and answers. We'll address any concerns at tomorrow's pack meeting." He guided Mia toward a hallway leading off the main room. "Charlotte, have someone bring food to my office. Something substantial, she's had a shock." They walked in silence until they reached a spacious office lined with bookshelves and dominated by a large desk made from a single slab of wood. Liam gestured to a leather couch near a smaller fireplace. "Sit, please." Mia sat, her legs suddenly weak now that the adrenaline was wearing off. "They wanted to kill me." "Some of them, yes." Liam poured amber liquid from a decanter into 2 glasses and handed her one. "Drink this. It'll help with the shock." Mia took a sip and coughed as whiskey burned down her throat. "Why didn't you let them?" "Why would I?" He settled into a chair across from her, those amber eyes studying her intently. "Because I'm a threat. I could expose you all, destroy everything you've built here." Mia took another, smaller sip of whiskey. "That's what I'd do if I were you. Eliminate the threat." "Is that what you're planning? To expose us?" Mia paused, considering. No, I don't think so. Who would believe me anyway? And even if they did, what would happen to all of you? There are children here. I saw a playground near one of the cabins. I'm not a monster." Liam's expression softened. "No, you're not. Which is exactly why I didn't kill you, Mia. Because the moment I looked into your eyes in that clearing, I knew you weren't a threat. You were just someone in the wrong place at the wrong time, terrified and trying to survive." "How could you know that?" "Because I'm an alpha. It's my gift, reading people, understanding their intentions, knowing who's pack and who's threat." He leaned forward, elbows on his knees. "And you, Mia Carter, are definitely not a threat. You're something else entirely." "What does that mean?" Before he could answer, someone knocked and entered with a tray laden with sandwiches, fruit, and what looked like homemade cookies. It was a young woman, maybe 19 or 20, with warm brown skin and a shy smile. "Thank you, Zara," Liam said kindly. The girl's eyes darted to Mia with undisguised curiosity. "Is it true she's human? Like, completely human?" "Completely," Liam confirmed. Wow. Zara's smile widened. That's so cool. We don't get many human visitors. I'm Zara, by the way. Welcome to Silverwood. Her enthusiasm was so genuine that Mia couldn't help but smile back. Thanks. I think. After Zara left, Mia picked at the food while Liam explained the basics. Werewolves were born, not made. The Hollywood myths about bites and full moons were mostly fiction. They could transform at will, though the full moon did make the change more powerful, more primal. They aged slower than humans, lived longer, healed faster. So you're all just born this way? Mia asked around a bite of surprisingly delicious sandwich. Most of us, yes. There are rare cases of someone being turned, but it requires a specific ritual and doesn't always work. It's dangerous, painful, and the survival rate is less than 50%. That's horrifying. It is. Which is why we don't do it lightly. Liam's gaze was intense. But it's important you understand the option exists. Because if you choose to stay with the pack long-term, you'd need to be turned eventually. Mia nearly choked on her food. I'm sorry, what? You saw our most sacred ritual, Mia. You've been brought into our territory, seen our families, our children. You can't just go back to your normal life and pretend this never happened. He spoke gently, but his words were devastating. The pack won't accept a permanent human presence unless you're bound to us in some way. Either through the turning or what? Or through a mate bond with a pack member. Liam's expression was carefully neutral. Though that's extremely rare with humans, and comes with its own complications. Mia set down her sandwich, appetite gone. So you're saying I'm trapped here? Either I become a werewolf or I... What? Marry one of you. Those are the two paths to permanent integration, yes. But Mia, you have time to decide. No one's forcing you to choose right now. How much time? The full moon cycle. 1 month. He ran a hand through his silver hair. By the next full moon, you'll need to have made a decision about your future. Stay and integrate, or leave and face memory modification. Memory modification? You can do that. We have a witch on retainer who can erase specific memories, yes. She's very good at it. You'd forget you ever saw us, forget this night entirely. You'd go back to your apartment, your job, your ordinary life. It should have sounded perfect. A way out, a return to normalcy. But something in Mia's chest clenched painfully at the thought. And if I choose that, I'd never see you again. The words slipped out before she could stop them, and Liam's eyes widened slightly with surprise. No, he said softly. You wouldn't. The memory modification is thorough. You wouldn't remember me at all. The idea made Mia feel inexplicably sad, which was insane. She'd known this man for less than 2 hours. He was a werewolf, for God's sake. A predator who'd hunted her through the forest. She should want to forget him, forget all of this. So why did the thought of it make her want to cry? I can see you're overwhelmed, Liam said, standing. Let me show you to your cabin. You need rest, time to process. We'll talk more in the morning. The cabin he led her to was charming. A single room with a comfortable-looking bed, a small kitchenette, and a bathroom with a surprisingly luxurious shower. Someone had already left fresh towels and what looked like borrowed clothes on the bed. The clothes are from Zara, Liam explained. You're about the same size. There's a lock on the door, though you don't need it. No one will bother you here. Because you said not to, Mia guessed. Because you're under my protection. He paused at the door. Mia, I know this is terrifying and confusing, but I meant what I said. You're safe here. Whatever you decide about your future, you have my word that no harm will come to you while you're on Silverwood territory. Why? Mia asked desperately. Why do you care? You don't know me. Liam was quiet for a long moment, his hand on the doorknob, his profile silhouetted against the porch light. I don't know yet, he admitted quietly. But when I saw you in that clearing, when our eyes met, something happened. Something I can't explain. It's why I couldn't let them hurt you. Why I brought you here instead of erasing your memories immediately. He looked back at her, and the vulnerability in his eyes stole her breath. Get some rest. Tomorrow will be easier, I promise. After he left, Mia sank onto the bed, her mind reeling. Werewolves. Pack politics. A month to decide if she wanted to give up her humanity or forget everything. And Liam, with his amber eyes and gentle hands and the way he'd placed himself between her and danger without hesitation. Liam, who looked at her like she was something precious, something worth protecting. Liam, who made her feel things she'd never felt before, after knowing him for less than 3 hours. Mia pulled Zara's borrowed clothes against her chest, and let herself feel the full weight of what had happened tonight. Her old life was gone, whether she chose to remember it or not. The question was, what would she build in its place? Outside her window, the moon shone bright and full, and somewhere in the distance, a wolf howled. A sound that no longer filled her with fear but with something that felt dangerously like longing. Chapter 3. The Inciting Incident. Mia woke to sunlight streaming through unfamiliar windows and the smell of coffee. For a disoriented moment she thought she was still dreaming, the events of last night too bizarre to be real. Then she saw the borrowed clothes, felt the unfamiliar softness of sheets that weren't hers, and reality crashed back. Werewolves. She was in a werewolf compound. Because she'd witnessed something she shouldn't have. And because an alpha named Liam had decided to keep her alive. A knock at the door made her jump. Mia? Zara. I brought breakfast. Mia scrambled out of bed, still wearing yesterday's clothes, and opened the door to find the young woman from last night holding a tray laden with food. Morning. I wasn't sure what you'd like, so I brought a bit of everything. We have amazing cooks here. Being werewolves means we eat like constantly. Zara breezed past her into the cabin, setting the tray on the small table. How do you sleep? Surprisingly well, considering. Mia eyed the spread: eggs, bacon, fresh fruit, toast, and coffee that smelled like heaven. Thank you for this. And for the clothes. Oh, no problem. We're totally the same size, which is awesome. I never have anyone to share clothes with. Zara plopped down in one of the chairs, clearly planning to stay. So this is wild, right? A human in the pack? Charlotte's having an absolute meltdown about it. Charlotte being the scary redhead from last night? That's the one. She's beta second in command. She and Liam have known each other forever. And she's super protective of the pack. Zara grabbed a piece of toast from the tray. Don't worry though, her bark is worse than her bite. Well, her human bark anyway. Her wolf bite is actually pretty nasty. Mia nearly choked on her coffee. That's not reassuring. Sorry. I'm bad at this. My mom says I don't have a filter. Zara's grin was infectious. But seriously, you don't have to worry about Charlotte. The alpha has claimed you as pack business, which means you're off limits. Even she won't cross that line. Claimed me. The phrase made something flutter in Mia's stomach. Okay, poor word choice. Protected you? Vouched for you. Zara's eyes sparkled with mischief. Though between you and me, the way he was looking at you last night? That was definitely more than just alpha duty. We just met. He doesn't even know me. Sometimes knowing doesn't matter. Sometimes you just recognize someone. Zara's expression turned oddly serious. My parents knew they were mates the moment they met. Mom says it was like lightning, just instant connection, instant certainty. Maybe it's like that with you and the alpha. That's impossible. I'm human. He's a werewolf, yeah. But that doesn't mean the bond can't exist. It's rare, but it happens. Zara stood, collecting the tray. Anyway, Liam, sorry, the alpha. He asked me to show you around this morning. Give you the full tour, introduce you to some of the friendlier pack members. You up for it? Mia wanted to refuse, wanted to hide in this cabin until the month was up, and she could make her decision in isolation. But hiding wouldn't help her understand what she was dealing with. Wouldn't help her decide if she wanted to stay or go. Okay, she said. Let me shower and change first. An hour later, dressed in Zara's borrowed jeans and a soft blue sweater, Mia followed her guide around the compound. In daylight, the place was even more impressive. Children played in a fenced playground while adult werewolves watched from nearby benches. Gardens flourished between the buildings, and she could see people working together on various projects, repairing a roof, tending plants, chopping wood. We're pretty self-sufficient, Zara explained. Have to be living this far from town. We grow most of our own food, generate our own power with solar and wind. The main lodge has the kitchens and dining hall. The community center over there has our school and library. And that building is the medical facility. You have your own school? For the pups, yeah. Can't exactly send werewolf kids to regular school. Too risky. They shift when they're emotional, and kids are emotional a lot. Zara waved at a group of teenagers who were practicing what looked like combat moves in an open field. Those are the older kids. Once they turn 16, they start combat training. It's important for pack defense. Defense against what? Zara's expression darkened. Other packs mostly. There are territories all over North America and sometimes borders get disputed. Then there are rogues, werewolves without packs who sometimes cause trouble. And occasionally hunters. Mia stopped walking. Hunters? Like people who hunt werewolves. It's rare now, but yeah. There are families who've been doing it for generations. They mostly leave us alone if we leave them alone, but every once in a while. Zara trailed off, her cheerful demeanor slipping. My uncle was killed by hunters 5 years ago. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time like you. But he didn't have an alpha to protect him. I'm sorry, Mia said quietly. Thanks. It's why security is so tight here, why the pack is so suspicious of outsiders. Zara's smile returned, though it was dimmer. But also why what Liam's doing, protecting you, giving you a choice, is kind of revolutionary. The old ways would demand your death or immediate turning. He's trying something new. They continued the tour, and Mia met more pack members. Most were polite but distant, clearly unsure what to make of her. A few were openly hostile, their distrust palpable. But others, especially some of the younger members, seemed genuinely excited by her presence. "You're like a celebrity." Zara laughed after the fifth person asked to take a photo with Mia, the human who didn't die. "It's kind of a big deal." It was early afternoon when they ran into Liam. He was in the training field with the teenage group, demonstrating a combat technique. Shirtless. Mia's mouth went dry. She'd known he was fit, last night had made that clear. But seeing him in broad daylight, muscles flexing as he moved, skin gleaming with a light sheen of sweat, it was almost too much. "Earth to Mia," Zara teased. "You're drooling." "I am not," Mia protested, but she couldn't tear her eyes away. Liam finished the demonstration and looked up, his gaze finding Mia instantly. Even from this distance, she felt the impact of that look, intense, assessing, possessive in a way that should have scared her but instead made heat pool low in her belly. He said something to the teenagers and jogged over, grabbing a towel from a nearby bench. "Mia, Zara, how's the tour going?" "Great," Zara chirped. "Mia's met like half the pack already. Everyone loves her." "Not everyone," Mia corrected. "Charlotte looked like she wanted to murder me when we passed her earlier." "Charlotte wants to murder everyone before breakfast," Liam said mildly. "Don't take it personally." He draped the towel around his neck, and Mia forced herself to focus on his face instead of his very distracting chest. "How are you feeling?" "Better than last night." "Less terrified, more confused," Mia admitted. "This place is not what I expected." "What did you expect?" "I don't know. Something more primitive? Dangerous? Not a community with playgrounds and libraries, and people who seem genuinely happy." Liam's expression softened. "We're not monsters, Mia. We're people who happen to be able to transform into wolves. We have families, jobs, hopes, dreams. The only real difference is that we're stronger, live longer, and have very strong pack bonds. And you can smell emotions," Zara added helpfully, "and see in the dark, and hear conversations from like a mile away, and—" "Thank you, Zara," Liam interrupted, amused. "I think she gets the point." A commotion from the main lodge drew their attention. Charlotte emerged, followed by a man Mia didn't recognize. He was tall, built like a linebacker, with a scar running down one side of his face and eyes that were cold and calculating. "Alpha," Charlotte called. "We have a situation." Liam's entire demeanor shifted, becoming the commanding alpha Mia had glimpsed last night. "What kind of situation?" "Border breach. Northside. Rogues, looks like 3 of them. Injuries?" "None yet, but they're headed toward the compound." Charlotte's eyes flicked to Mia. "We need to move the human somewhere secure." "Her name is Mia," Liam said sharply. "And she stays with me." "Alpha, that's not protocol." "I'm aware of protocol, Beta. I'm also aware that splitting my focus between a potential threat and worrying about Mia's safety is tactical stupidity. She stays close where I can protect her." Charlotte looked like she wanted to argue, but the scarred man spoke first. "Alpha's right. Rogue attacks are unpredictable. Better to keep high-value targets in sight." "High value?" Mia squeaked. "You witnessed our most sacred ritual and you're currently under Alpha protection," the man explained, his voice surprisingly gentle for someone so intimidating. "That makes you valuable leverage to anyone who wants to hurt this pack. Rogues would love to get their hands on you." Mia felt sick. She'd thought last night was the worst of it, but apparently, she'd stumbled into something far more complicated and dangerous than she'd imagined. Liam's hand found hers, warm and steady. "Nothing's going to happen to you. I promise." He looked at Charlotte. "Assemble the border patrol. Cole, take a team to intercept. I want them contained, not killed. We need to know why they're here." "And if they won't talk?" Cole asked. "Then we make them talk." The steel in Liam's voice sent shivers down Mia's spine. This was the alpha, the predator, the leader who'd held a pack together for what must be years. "But first priority is securing our territory and protecting the pack. Move." They scattered, leaving Mia standing with Liam and Zara. The younger woman looked excited rather than scared. "This is so cool. We haven't had rogues this close in months." "Cool is not the word I'd use," Mia muttered. Liam squeezed her hand. "I need you to go with Zara to the safe room in the main lodge. It's reinforced secure. You'll be protected there." "What about you?" "I'll be coordinating the response. I won't be in direct danger." He cupped her face with his free hand, the gesture startlingly intimate. "Trust me, Mia. I've handled rogue threats before. This is what I do. I don't want you to get hurt because of me." Something flashed in his eyes, surprise, pleasure, a heat that made her breath catch. "Mia, you are not a burden. You are pack under my protection, and that means your safety is my responsibility. Let me do my job." He pressed a kiss to her forehead, quick, chaste, but burning with unspoken promise, and then he was gone, striding toward the lodge with the confident grace of a predator in his element. "Wow," Zara breathed. "He's got it bad for you." "We just met," Mia protested weakly. "Sometimes that's all it takes." Zara tugged her toward the lodge. Come on. Let's get you secured. And then I'll fill you in on all the pack gossip. Because if you're going to be Luna, I'm not going to be Luna. What's a Luna? The alpha's mate. The female leader of the pack. Zara's grin was wicked. And based on the way he just looked at you, you're totally going to be Luna. As they hurried toward safety, with the sounds of pack members mobilizing for a threat Mia didn't fully understand, she realized something terrifying. Part of her wanted Zara to be right. Part of her wanted to stay to be pack to explore whatever this connection was between her and Liam. And that part was growing stronger by the hour. Chapter 4: Rising Tension. The safe room was exactly what it sounded like. A reinforced bunker beneath the main lodge with concrete walls, emergency supplies, and communication equipment that kept them connected to what was happening above ground. Mia sat on one of the cots, listening to the crackle of radio chatter while Zara paced nervously. Border Patrol has visual on the rogues, a voice said through the speaker. 3 males, mid-20s in appearance. They're holding position at the northern tree line. Any hostile movement? That was Liam's voice, calm and controlled. Negative, Alpha. They're just waiting. Waiting for what? Charlotte's voice cut in, sharp with suspicion. Mia wrapped her arms around herself. Why would they just wait? If they're here to attack, why not attack? Because they want something, Zara said, stopping her pacing. Rogues don't usually approach pack territory unless they're desperate, or they have a specific goal. The radio crackled again. Alpha, one of them is requesting parley. Says he has information about a threat to the pack. Silence stretched for a long moment. Then Liam. Tell him he gets 5 minutes. Cole Nathan flank positions. If this is a trap, I want them contained immediately. Copy that, Alpha. Mia stood, moving closer to the radio. Can we hear what they're saying? Zara flipped a switch and suddenly they could hear everything. The rustle of wind through trees, footsteps on forest floor, and then voices. You've got 3 minutes. That was Liam, his tone brooking no argument. Talk. My name is Ethan. The new voice was young, nervous. I'm Weir from the Blackwood Pack about 200 miles north of here. Never heard of it, Charlotte said flatly. That's because we kept to ourselves, stayed off the council's radar. Small pack, only 30 members. Ethan paused. We're 30 members. Now we're down to 12. What happened? Liam's voice had gentled slightly. Hunters. But not regular hunters. These ones know things, have weapons we've never seen before. Silver, yes, but also something else. Something that burns like acid, that keeps our wounds from healing. The fear in Ethan's voice was palpable even through the radio. They wiped out half our pack in one night. Our alpha is dead. Our beta barely escaped with his life. Mia felt ice in her veins. They're talking about people who kill werewolves? Hunters have always existed, Zara said quietly, her earlier cheerfulness completely gone. But what he's describing, weapons that prevent healing, that's new. That's terrifying. On the radio, Liam was asking questions. Why come here? Why not go to the council? Because the council is too slow, too political. By the time they investigate and approve aid, we'll all be dead. Ethan's voice cracked. And we came here because we heard about Silverwood. Heard you're strong, well defended. We're not asking to join your pack, Alpha. We just need sanctuary until we can figure out our next move. Please. Another long silence. Then Charlotte. This could be a trap. They could be working with the hunters, leading them straight to us. I know, Liam said. But if they're telling the truth, we have a bigger problem. Hunters with new weapons targeting packs systematically, that threatens all of us. So what do? We trust but verify. Liam's command was clear. Ethan, you and your people will be granted temporary sanctuary on Silverwood territory. But you'll be monitored, your story will be checked, and if we find out you've lied to us, we haven't. I swear on the moon and stars, Alpha. We're just trying to survive. Then you'll have our protection while we investigate. Cole, escort them to the guest barracks. Keep a security detail on them at all times. Liam paused. And someone contact the council. If there really are hunters with new weapons, this needs to be on their radar immediately. The radio went quiet except for the sound of people moving, orders being given. Then Liam's voice, different now, speaking directly to them. Zara, Mia, you can come out. The immediate threat is contained. They climbed out of the bunker to find the lodge in controlled chaos. Pack members were everywhere, some in human form, some as wolves, all moving with purpose. Liam stood in the center of it all, directing traffic like a conductor leading an orchestra. When he saw Mia, relief flashed across his features. He crossed to her in 3 long strides. You okay? I'm fine. Scared, confused, but fine. Mia looked around at the organized chaos. Is it always like this? No. Most days are actually pretty boring. His mouth quirked up. Welcome to the exciting part of pack life. Charlotte approached, her expression grim. The refugees are secured. I've got teams running background checks, and I've reached out to our contacts near the Blackwood territory to verify their story. Good. What about council notification? Sent. They're sending an investigator to interview the Blackwood wolves and assess the hunter threat. Charlotte's eyes flicked to Mia. We should probably move the human somewhere more secure. If hunters are targeting packs, having a witness human here makes us more vulnerable. Her name is Mia, Liam said for the second time that day, his patience clearly wearing thin. And she stays. Alpha. That's final, Beta. The command in his voice was absolute. Mia is pack business, and right now, pack business includes keeping her safe and informed. Or do you have a problem with my leadership? Charlotte's jaw clenched. No, Alpha. No problem. Then I suggest you focus on the actual threats and stop trying to isolate Mia. Liam's tone softened slightly. I know you're worried about pack security. That's your job and you're good at it. But trust my judgment on this. Charlotte held his gaze for a moment longer, then nodded stiffly and walked away. She really doesn't like me, Mia observed. She doesn't know you yet. Give it time. Liam rubbed his face, suddenly looking exhausted. This is a complication we didn't need. The rogues. The whole situation. If Ethan's telling the truth, we're looking at a systematic assault on werewolf packs. That hasn't happened in decades. He looked at her, and Mia saw worry in his eyes. And you're caught in the middle of it. I seem to be good at being in the wrong place at the wrong time, Mia said with a weak attempt at humor. Or the right place. Liam's hand found hers again, that simple touch grounding her. Mia, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest. Okay. How much do you know about your family history? Specifically, your ancestry. The question threw her. Not much. I grew up in foster care. Never knew my parents. Why? Liam exchanged a look with Zara that Mia couldn't interpret. Because the way you've adapted to all of this, the lack of complete terror, the way you're processing information, even the fact that you can hear our radio communications without getting a headache, it's unusual for a pure human. What are you saying? I'm saying there's a possibility you have supernatural ancestry. Distant, dormant but present. He squeezed her hand gently. It would explain a lot. Including why He stopped himself. Why you what? Why I feel drawn to you. Why my wolf recognizes you. The admission seemed to cost him something. Alphas don't usually react this strongly to humans, Mia. But if you have even a trace of supernatural heritage, it could trigger a mate bond. Mia's heart was pounding. A mate bond? Like what Zara was talking about earlier. Yes. It's rare. Especially with someone who presents as fully human. But it's possible. Liam's thumb traced patterns on her palm, the touch sending electricity up her arm. I'd like your permission to have our pack healer examine you. She can sense magical bloodlines, even dormant ones. And if she finds something, then we'll have answers. About why this is happening, about what options you have for the future. His eyes held hers. About why I can't seem to stay away from you, even though I know I should give you space. The intensity of his gaze made Mia's breath catch. What if she doesn't find anything? What if I'm just human? Then we'll deal with that too. Liam's voice was fierce. Whatever you are, whoever you are, you're under my protection. That doesn't change. Before Mia could respond, an alarm blared through the compound. Liam's head snapped up, his entire body going tense. What is that? Mia asked, fear spiking through her. Perimeter breach. Southern border this time. Liam was already moving, pulling Mia with him toward the command center. Zara, get her back to the safe room. I'm not going back down there, Mia protested. I want to know what's happening. Mia, I'm involved in this whether I like it or not, Liam. Stop trying to protect me from information. She planted her feet, refusing to budge. I'm not a child. I'm not helpless. And I'm tired of being treated like I am. Something that looked like pride flashed in Liam's eyes. Fine. But you stay close to me. Understood. Understood. They rushed to the command center. A room filled with monitors showing different angles of the compound's perimeter. Cole was already there, pointing at one of the screens. There. For individuals approaching from the south. They're not trying to hide, walking straight up the main access road. Liam studied the screen, his expression darkening. Those aren't rogues. No, Charlotte agreed, having appeared at some point. Those are hunters. Mia looked at the screen and felt her blood run cold. For people in tactical gear, armed with what looked like very serious weapons, approaching the compound like they owned it. How did they find us so fast? Cole demanded. The Blackwood refugees just got here. Maybe they followed them, Zara suggested. Or maybe the refugees led them here deliberately, Charlotte finished. I told you we shouldn't trust them. We don't know that yet, Liam said, but his voice was tight. Sound the alarm. Get all non-combatants to the safe zones. combat-ready pack members to defensive positions. Now, the compound exploded into coordinated motion. Through the windows, Mia could see children being hustled into buildings, adults shifting into wolf form, taking up positions around the perimeter. What can I do? Mia asked. You can, Liam started, but she cut him off. And don't say go hide. I can help. I'm a photographer. I notice details, patterns. Let me watch the monitors, be an extra set of eyes. Liam looked like he wanted to argue, but Charlotte spoke first. She's not wrong. We're stretched thin as it is, and human perspective might catch something we miss. Fine, Liam conceded. But Mia, if I tell you to run, you run. No arguments. Deal. The hunters reached the main gate, and one of them, a woman with steel gray hair and a scar bisecting her left eyebrow, stepped forward. Her voice carried clearly through the external speakers. I'm looking for Liam Silverwood, alpha of this pack. I have a proposition that benefits both of us. Let me in and we can discuss this civilized. Or make me break in and a lot of people die. Your choice. Liam's hands clenched into fists. That's Margaret Thorne. She's one of the most notorious hunters on the West Coast. She doesn't make social calls. What does she want? Mia whispered. Only one way to find out. Liam's voice was grim as he activated the external speaker. Margaret. It's been years. Too many, Liam. The woman's smile was sharp. Though I hear you've been keeping interesting company lately. A human witness to your sacred ritual? How unprecedented. Mia's stomach dropped. How does she know about me? Because someone told her, Charlotte said darkly. Someone from inside the pack. Or someone who was at the ritual, Liam countered. Mia, how many wolves were there that night? 9, not counting you. But they all bowed to you, they seemed loyal. Seemed being the operative word. Liam's jaw was tight as he spoke into the microphone again. What do you want, Margaret? Simple. The human. You give her to us, we leave your pack alone. You keep her, and we come back with reinforcements and burn this place to the ground. Margaret's casual tone made the threat even more chilling. You have 1 hour to decide. After that, we stop being polite. The screen went dark as the hunters retreated to a safe distance. Silence filled the command center. Then Charlotte. We give her up. Absolutely not, Liam snarled. Alpha, be reasonable. One human versus the entire pack? The math is simple. The math is irrelevant. Liam's eyes were blazing amber now, his alpha power filling the room like a physical force. Mia's pack. We don't sacrifice pack to save pack. That's not who we are. Then what do we do? Cole asked. We can't fight off a full hunter assault. Not with refugees to protect and half our warriors still out on patrol. Liam turned to Mia, and the conflict in his expression broke her heart. I won't let them take you. I'll die before I let them hurt you. Then you'll die, Mia said quietly. And so will a lot of other people. People with families, children, futures. She took a shaky breath. I can't let that happen. Mia, no. Listen to me. She grabbed his hands, forcing him to focus on her. You said I have a month to decide my future, right? To choose if I want to stay or have my memories erased. Yes, but... Then I choose to remember. I choose to stay. And I choose to fight. Mia's voice strengthened with conviction. I'm not some helpless victim who needs to be protected at all costs. I'm a person who can make decisions about my own life. And I'm deciding that I'm not going to be the reason good people die. What are you suggesting? Charlotte asked, her tone caught between suspicion and reluctant respect. I'm suggesting we set a trap. Mia looked at the monitors, at the hunters waiting in the distance. They want me? Fine. Give me to them. But not the real me, a decoy. Someone who can shift into my appearance. We don't have shifters who can mimic specific humans, Cole said. That's an incredibly rare gift. But we have a witch on retainer, right? The one who does memory modification. Mia's mind was racing. Can she create an illusion? Make someone look like me long enough to get close to the hunters, figure out what they really want. Liam was staring at her like he'd never seen her before. That's actually brilliant. And insane. But mostly brilliant. It could work, Charlotte admitted grudgingly. If we move fast before they expect a response. Send out the decoy. Have wolves in position to ambush when the hunters reveal their true intentions. It's risky, Cole warned. If the illusion fails. Then we fight, Liam interrupted. But at least we'd have the element of surprise. He looked at Mia, and the pride in his eyes made her chest tighten. You're sure about this? I'm sure I'm not going to hide while other people risk their lives for me. Mia managed a smile. Besides, you said I might have supernatural ancestry. Maybe it's time I started acting like it. Liam pulled her into his arms, the embrace fierce and desperate. If this goes wrong. It won't, Mia said with more confidence than she felt. We're going to outsmart them, And then we're going to figure out who betrayed us and why. And after that? His voice was muffled against her hair. After that, I'd like to meet your pack healer. I want to know what I am, who I could be. She pulled back to look at him. I want to understand why being with you feels like coming home when I've never had a home in my life. Liam's eyes were molten amber. Mia. Whatever he was about to say was interrupted by the radio crackling to life. Alpha, we have a problem. The Blackwood refugees, they're gone. All 12 of them just vanished. Charlotte swore. They were the bait. This whole thing was a setup from the start. Not just a setup, Liam said grimly, studying the monitors. A distraction. While we were focused on the hunters at the gate, someone infiltrated the compound. He pointed at one of the screens showing the medical facility. There. Look at the window. Mia squinted at the monitor and saw it. A shadow moving inside a building that should have been empty. They're after our medical supplies, Cole realized. The healing serums, the transformation stabilizers. Everything they'd need to create weapons that could stop werewolf healing. Liam finished. He was already moving, issuing orders rapid fire. Charlotte, lockdown protocol. Cole, take your team to intercept the infiltrator. Zara, get Mia somewhere safe. Now. I'm not. Mia started to protest, but Liam cut her off with a look. This is not negotiable. You wanted to help? You did. Your plan bought us tactical advantage. But now I need you safe while we deal with this threat. His hand cupped her face, thumb brushing her cheekbone. Please, Mia. Let me protect you while I can. The desperation in his voice broke through her resistance. Okay. But Liam? Come back to me. Always, he promised, and then he was gone, shifting into his massive silver wolf form mid-stride and racing toward the medical facility. Zara pulled Mia toward the safe room, but they'd barely made it 10 steps before the world exploded. The medical facility erupted in flames, a fireball that lit up the compound and sent debris flying. Mia screamed Liam's name, trying to run toward the inferno, but Zara held her back with surprising strength. We have to trust him, Zara said, though tears were streaming down her face. We have to trust the Alpha knows what he's doing. Through the smoke and chaos, Mia saw wolves emerging. Some injured, some carrying others. But she didn't see Silver Fur. Didn't see Liam, and the fear clawing at her chest was worse than anything she'd ever felt. Please, she whispered to God she didn't believe in. To the moon shining overhead. To whatever force had brought her into this world of supernatural wonder and terror. Please let him be okay. And then through the smoke she saw him. Liam emerged from the burning building in human form, carrying an unconscious pack member over his shoulder. He was covered in soot and bleeding from a dozen wounds, but he was alive. He was alive. Mia broke free from Zara's grip and ran to him, not caring about protocol or propriety or anything except the overwhelming need to touch him, to confirm he was real and whole. She crashed into him just as he handed off the injured pack member to waiting medics, and his arms came around her immediately. I'm okay, he murmured into her hair. I'm okay, Mia. You're bleeding. You're hurt. She pulled back to assess the damage, her hands shaking. I'll heal. We all will. But his eyes were dark with fury as he looked at the burning building. They used the refugees as pawns, infiltrated our medical facility, and stole everything they needed to weaponize our own healing magic against us. Did you catch the infiltrator? No. They had an escape route plan, someone waiting with a vehicle. They were gone before we could stop them. Liam's arms tightened around her. But they made a mistake. What mistake? They showed their hand too early. Now we know what they're planning and we can prepare. He looked down at her and despite everything, the burning building, the stolen supplies, the betrayal, his expression softened. And they don't know about you. They think you're just a human witness. They have no idea what you might actually be. Neither do I, Mia pointed out. Then let's find out. Liam's smile was fierce. Because if tonight proved anything, it's that the universe brought you to me for a reason. And I'm done questioning it. As pack members rushed to contain the fire and secure the compound, as medics tended to the injured and security teams swept for additional threats, Liam held Mia close and made her a promise. Whatever happens next, we face it together. You're not just pack, Mia. You're mine. And I protect what's mine. The possessiveness in his voice should have scared her. Instead, it made her feel safer than she'd ever felt in her life. Yours, she agreed softly. Whatever that means, however this ends, I'm yours. And under the light of the full moon, surrounded by chaos and uncertainty, that promise felt like the only sure thing in the world. Chapter 5, The Midpoint Revelation. The pack healer's name was Eleanor. And she was nothing like Mia expected. Instead of some mystical crone, she was a woman in her 40s with kind eyes, graying blonde hair pulled back in a practical ponytail, and an air of calm competence that immediately put Mia at ease. Her office in what remained of the medical facility was cluttered with herbs, crystals, and medical equipment in equal measure. A perfect blend of modern medicine and ancient healing arts. So you're the human who's turned our alpha's world upside down, Eleanor said with a gentle smile as she gestured for Mia to sit on the examination table. I've been looking forward to meeting you. Is it that obvious? Mia asked, acutely aware of Liam standing just inside the door, his presence both comforting and unnerving. Honey, Liam hasn't looked at anyone the way he looks at you in the entire 15 years I've known him. Eleanor pulled out various instruments, some medical, some that glowed with faint magical energy. Now let's see what secrets your blood is hiding. The examination was thorough and strange. Eleanor drew blood, of course, but she also had Mia hold certain crystals, recite words in languages she didn't understand, and sit perfectly still while the healer passed her hands through the air around Mia's body, apparently reading her aura or energy field or something equally inexplicable. Throughout it all, Liam watched from his position by the door, his expression unreadable. Finally, after what felt like hours but was probably only 30 minutes, Eleanor stepped back with a look of wonder on her face. Well? Liam asked, his voice tight with anticipation. Well? Eleanor echoed, still staring at Mia like she was a puzzle box that had just revealed its solution. This is extraordinary. What is? Mia demanded. Am I human or not? You're human, Eleanor confirmed. Fully, completely human. But you're also something else, something I've only read about in very old texts. Eleanor, please, Liam said. Just tell us. The healer nodded, gathering her thoughts. Mia, you're what's called a moonborn. It's an incredibly rare phenomenon. Maybe 1 in 10 million humans carry the trait. Essentially, you're human with a latent supernatural potential that can be activated under very specific circumstances. What kind of circumstances? Mia's heart was pounding. Usually, exposure to concentrated supernatural energy. In your case, Eleanor glanced at Liam. Witnessing a pack transformation under a full moon, followed by extended close contact with an alpha. The combination triggered something dormant in your genetic code. Triggered what exactly? The ability to become like us. Liam's voice was rough with emotion. Eleanor, are you saying she could be turned without the usual risks? I'm saying more than that. Eleanor's eyes sparkled with excitement. If Mia chooses to undergo the transformation, her survival rate would be nearly 100%. And because she's moonborn, she wouldn't just become any werewolf. She'd be incredibly powerful. Possibly even alpha class. The room fell silent as they all processed that information. Alpha class, Mia repeated numbly. But I'm just me. I'm a photographer. I can barely do a pull-up. I'm not powerful. Not yet, Eleanor agreed. But the potential is there. Written in your very DNA. It's probably why you were drawn to nature photography, why you felt compelled to follow that light into the forest that night. Your moonborn nature was calling to the supernatural world. And the supernatural world answered. Liam had moved closer without Mia realizing it. What else? There's more, I can see it in your face. Eleanor hesitated. The mate bond. You asked me to check if one was forming. I can confirm that yes, there is a bond between you two. But it's not standard. How so? Liam's hand found Mia's, their fingers intertwining automatically. Normally, mate bonds form gradually. Attraction builds, connection deepens, the bond solidifies over time. But with moonborn individuals, it's different. The bond forms instantly, completely. The moment they encounter their true mate. Eleanor looked between them. The second you locked eyes with Mia in that clearing, Liam, the bond snapped into place. It's why you couldn't let your pack harm her. Why you've been so protective, why separation feels painful for both of you. Wait, Mia interrupted. It feels painful for him too? Of course. Mate bonds are reciprocal. Eleanor smiled softly. He just has centuries of practice hiding his emotions. But yes, when you're apart, he feels it just as acutely as you do. Mia turned to Liam, seeing the truth in his eyes. You never said anything. I didn't want to pressure you, he admitted quietly. You were already dealing with so much, learning about werewolves being thrust into pack politics, surviving hunter attacks. I didn't want you to feel obligated to reciprocate feelings you might not actually have. Might not, Mia laughed, the sound slightly hysterical. Liam, I can't stop thinking about you. When you're not in the room, I feel like part of me is missing. When you're in danger, I can't breathe. I thought I was just losing my mind. No, you're losing your heart, Eleanor said gently. Both of you are. That's what mate bonds do. They bind souls together in ways that transcend logic or reason. So what now? Mia asked, looking between Eleanor and Liam. What do we do with this information? Now you have real choices, Eleanor explained. You can remain human, live out your natural lifespan, and maintain the mate bond in its current state, which would be painful for both of you as you age, and he doesn't, but possible. You can undergo the transformation and become a werewolf, joining the pack fully and being able to share Liam's long life. Or, Liam prompted. Or you can walk away. I can sever the mate bond before it's fully solidified. It would hurt, probably feel like something vital being ripped out, but both of you would survive and eventually be able to form new attachments. Eleanor's expression made it clear what she thought of that option. Though I don't recommend it. Mate bonds are rare and precious. Severing one unnecessarily is, well, it's a tragedy. Mia felt like the world was tilting beneath her feet. A week ago, she'd been a normal human with a normal life. Now she was apparently some kind of supernatural anomaly with the potential to become a powerful werewolf and a destined mate bond with an alpha. It was insane. It was impossible. It was also the most right thing she'd ever felt in her life. I need time to think, she said finally. This is a lot to process. Of course, Eleanor agreed. Take all the time you need. Though Mia, I should warn you. The transformation is easiest during a full moon. The next one is in 3 weeks. After that, you'd need to wait another month. And each delay makes the process slightly more difficult. 3 weeks, Mia repeated. 3 weeks to decide if she wanted to give up her humanity, her normal life, everything she'd ever known. 3 weeks to decide if she wanted forever with a man she'd known for less than a week but who felt like home. After they left Eleanor's office, Liam walked Mia back to her cabin in silence. The compound was slowly recovering from the attack, debris cleaned up, building damage assessed, security protocols updated. But there was a tension in the air, a sense that something bigger was coming. At her door, Liam paused. I know Eleanor gave you a lot to think about. But Mia, I need you to know something. What? Whatever you decide, I'll support it. If you want to be turned, I'll be there every step of the way. If you want to remain human, I'll make that work somehow. And if you want to walk away, his voice cracked slightly. If you want to sever the bond and forget all of this, I'll let you go. Because I care about you too much to trap you in a life you don't want. Mia reached up and cupped his face, feeling the slight stubble on his jaw, the warmth of his skin. What do you want, Liam? I want you, he said without hesitation. In whatever form you choose, for however long you'll have me. I want mornings where I wake up and you're there. I want nights running through the forest together. I want decades and centuries of learning everything about you, of building a life that's ours. His eyes were blazing amber. But more than I want those things, I want you to be happy. So don't choose based on what I want. Choose based on what you want. What if I don't know what I want yet? Then we figure it out together. He pressed a kiss to her forehead. Get some rest. Tomorrow's pack meeting will be intense. We need to address the attack, the hunters, the stolen medical supplies. You should be there if you're comfortable with it. Why would I need to be there? Because the pack needs to see you. They need to understand that you're not just some human I'm protecting on a whim. You're Moonborn, potentially one of us, and definitely my mate. His smile was fierce. They need to know that anyone who threatens you threatens their future Luna. Luna. The word sent shivers down Mia's spine. After Liam left, Mia lay in bed staring at the ceiling, her mind racing. Everything had changed so fast. A week ago she'd been invisible, ordinary, alone. Now she had a destiny, a mate, a potential future that was extraordinary in every sense. She should have been terrified. Instead, she felt alive for the first time in her life. Her phone buzzed. Miraculously, it had survived everything, and the pack compound had excellent Wi-Fi. It was a text from Zara. Can't sleep either? Want company? Mia smiled and texted back. Doors open. 5 minutes later, Zara arrived with hot chocolate and cookies. They settled on Mia's bed, cross-legged and facing each other like teenagers at a sleepover. So, Zara said after a long sip of cocoa, you're Moonborn. That's literally the coolest thing ever. Or the scariest. Maybe both. Zara's expression turned serious. Are you going to do it? The transformation? I don't know. Such a huge decision. What if I regret it? What if I'm terrible at being a werewolf? What if you're amazing at it? Zara interrupted gently. What if this is exactly what you're meant to be? Mia, I've seen the way you look at Liam, and more importantly, I've seen the way he looks at you. I've known the alpha my entire life, and I have never seen him like this. Happy, hopeful, like he finally found something worth holding on to. But it's only been a week. Time doesn't matter when it comes to mate bonds. My parents knew in a day. Some wolves know in hours. Zara grabbed Mia's hand. Stop overthinking this. What does your gut tell you? Mia closed her eyes, listening to that quiet voice deep inside. The one that had led her into the forest that night. That had made her take Liam's hand instead of running. That had made her stand up to hunters and plan strategies and refuse to hide. My gut says I'm supposed to be here, she admitted quietly. That everything in my life was leading to this moment. To him. To the pack. To becoming more than I was. Then trust that. Zara squeezed her hand. And just so you know, we're all rooting for you. Even Charlotte, though she'd rather die than admit it. Charlotte hates me. Charlotte's scared of you. There's a difference. Zara grinned. She's been beta for 20 years, second in command, Liam's right hand. And then you show up and suddenly she's not the most important person in his life anymore. It's an adjustment. They talked for another hour about pack dynamics, about what the transformation would be like, about Zara's own childhood growing up as a werewolf. By the time Zara left, Mia felt steadier, more grounded. She was drifting off to sleep when she heard it. A howl in the distance. Not threatening or mournful, just there. A reminder that she was surrounded by wolves, by wild things that were also people, by a world that was so much bigger and stranger than she'd ever imagined. And another howl answered. Then another. Until the whole pack was singing together under the moon, including one howl that she recognized instantly, that called to something deep in her soul. Liam. Mia got out of bed and went to the window. She couldn't see him, couldn't see any of them, but she could hear them, feel them, sense the connection that bound the pack together like invisible threads. And in that moment she made her decision. She didn't need 3 weeks. She didn't need more time to think. She knew what she wanted. She wanted this, the pack, the wildness, the belonging. She wanted Liam, in all his complexity and power and gentleness. She wanted forever instead of decades, strength instead of fragility, a destiny instead of just existence. She wanted to run beneath the moon and howl at the stars and be part of something ancient and beautiful and real. Tomorrow she'd tell Liam. Tomorrow, she'd tell Eleanor to prepare for the transformation. Tomorrow, she'd officially choose the life she'd been running toward since the moment she stepped into that moonlit clearing. But tonight she just stood at the window and listened to her pack, because they were her pack now, whether they knew it yet or not, sing their songs to the moon. And for the first time in her 26 years of life, Mia Carter felt like she was exactly where she belonged. Chapter 6, Darkest Hour. The pack meeting started at dawn, and Mia could feel the tension before she even entered the lodge. 73 wolves packed into one space, all of them on edge after the attack, all of them looking for answers and reassurance from their alpha. Liam stood at the front of the room, Charlotte on his right, Cole on his left. When Mia entered with Zara, every eye turned to her. The weight of their attention was crushing, but Mia forced herself to walk forward with her head high. She was done being the scared human who needed protection. If she was going to be Luna, she needed to start acting like it. Liam's eyes found hers, and something like relief crossed his face. He extended his hand, and Mia took it without hesitation, allowing him to pull her up to stand beside him. "Thank you all for coming," Liam began, his voice carrying easily through the space. "I know the past 24 hours have been chaotic and frightening, but before we address the hunter threat, I need to make an announcement about Mia." The room went completely silent. "Most of you have met her, know she witnessed our transformation ritual, know she's been under my protection. What you don't know is why." Liam's hand tightened around Mia's. "Eleanor has confirmed that Mia is Moonborn, a human with latent supernatural potential, and she is my mate." The room exploded with noise, shock, disbelief, a few scattered cheers. Charlotte looked like someone had punched her. Cole was grinning. "A human mate?" someone called out. "That's impossible." "Clearly not," Liam replied calmly. "And she won't remain human for long. Mia has chosen to undergo the transformation at the next full moon." More gasps. Mia felt her cheeks heat as everyone stared at her with renewed intensity. "With all due respect, Alpha," a middle-aged woman said, standing, "this is highly irregular. We don't just turn humans because of mate bonds. There are protocols, tests, a probationary period. All of which were designed for normal humans," Liam interrupted. "Mia is Moonborn. The rules are different for her. But we don't even know if she'll survive." "She will." Eleanor spoke up from the back of the room. "I've done every test available. Her survival rate is over 99%. She was literally born for this." Charlotte finally found her voice. "And what about loyalty? She's been here less than a week. How do we know she won't betray us? How do we know this isn't all some elaborate hunter plot?" The accusation hung in the air like poison. Mia felt Liam tense beside her, but before he could respond she spoke. "You don't know," Mia said clearly. "You have absolutely no reason to trust me except Liam's word. I'm a stranger who saw something I shouldn't have, who got dragged into your world without warning, who represents a massive security risk." Charlotte looked surprised that Mia had agreed with her. The whole room was listening now. "But here's what I know," Mia continued. "I know that in the past week, I've seen more kindness, more community, more genuine care than I experienced in 26 years of foster homes and temporary families. I know that Liam could have killed me or erased my memories, but instead he gave me a choice. I know that Zara brought me breakfast and made me feel welcome when she had no reason to. I know that Eleanor took the time to explain everything, to help me understand what I am." She looked around the room, meeting eyes, holding gazes. "I'm not asking you to trust me blindly. I'm asking you to give me a chance to earn that trust. Let me prove that I want to be here, that I'm choosing this life not because of a mate bond forcing me to, but because I've seen what you've built and I want to be part of it. Silence. Then Cole started clapping. Zara joined in. Slowly, others followed, until the room was filled with applause. Charlotte didn't clap, but she nodded slightly, the first sign of respect she'd shown Mia. Liam squeezed Mia's hand, pride radiating from him. Thank you, Mia. Now, onto the matter of the hunters. The meeting shifted to strategy. Cole reported that the Blackwood refugees had indeed been plants, hunters in disguise using a fabricated story to gain access to the compound. The real Blackwood pack had been contacted and confirmed they were alive and well. No attacks, no losses. So the whole thing was a setup, Charlotte said grimly. They wanted our medical supplies, our research. Question is, what are they planning to do with it? Create weapons that can permanently harm or kill werewolves, Liam said. That's the only logical conclusion. They steal our healing serums, study them, find a way to create something that counteracts them. We need to warn the council, someone said. Already done. They're sending a task force to investigate Margaret Thorne and her organization. Liam's expression was dark. But that's defensive. We need to go on offense. What are you suggesting, Alpha? Cole asked. I'm suggesting we find out where Thorne is operating from, and we shut her down. Permanently. Liam's eyes flashed amber. She attacked our home, threatened our pack, stole from us. That cannot go unanswered. It's too dangerous, Charlotte protested. We don't know how many hunters she has, what weapons they're developing. Sending wolves into her territory could be suicide. Then we send someone she won't expect. Liam looked at Mia. We send a human. The room erupted in protest, but Mia understood immediately what he was suggesting. You want me to infiltrate? Pretend I escaped from the pack, go to the hunters seeking protection. It's too risky, Charlotte said immediately. She's not trained, not prepared. She's smart, observant, and completely unexpected, Liam countered. The hunters think she's just a terrified witness. They have no idea she's Moonborn or that she's chosen to join us. Mia could get inside their operation, gather intelligence, maybe even recover our stolen supplies. And if they figure out she's working for you? Charlotte demanded. They'll kill her. They'll try, Liam said quietly. But I'll be close by. The moment things go wrong, I'll pull her out. Mia's mind was racing. It was risky, possibly suicidal. But it was also the only way to turn the tables on the hunters, to protect the pack proactively instead of just waiting for the next attack. I'll do it, she said. Mia, Liam started, but she cut him off. You said I could help. You said you trusted me. This is how I help. This is how I prove I'm pack. She looked around the room. Let me do this. The vote was close, but eventually the pack agreed. They'd spend the next few days preparing Mia, teaching her about hunters, giving her a cover story, making sure she had a way to communicate if she got in trouble. As the meeting dispersed, Charlotte approached Mia. That was either very brave or very stupid. Can't it be both? Charlotte's lips twitched, almost a smile. If you're going to do this, you need real training. Hand-to-hand combat, escape tactics, interrogation resistance. I'll teach you. You will. You're going to be Luna. That means you represent this pack. I won't have you embarrassing us by dying in the first 5 minutes. Charlotte's expression softened slightly. Plus, you've got guts. I can respect that. For the next 3 days, Mia trained harder than she'd ever trained for anything. Charlotte was merciless, teaching her how to fight, how to lie convincingly, how to withstand pain without breaking. Liam taught her about werewolf weaknesses, things the hunters would know that a random human witness wouldn't. Eleanor gave her a tracking device disguised as a tooth filling, invisible but powerful enough to let the pack locate her anywhere. And every night, Liam held her close, the mate bond between them growing stronger, making the thought of separation almost physically painful. I hate this plan, he admitted on the third night, his face buried in her hair. I hate everything about it. But you know it's the right move, Mia said softly. Strategically, yes. Emotionally, it's torture. He pulled back to look at her. Promise me you'll be careful. Promise me you'll run at the first sign of real danger. I promise. She kissed him, pouring everything she felt into it. Love, fear, determination, hope. I'm coming back to you, Liam. Nothing's going to stop that. The plan was simple. Mia would leave the compound publicly, making enough noise that the hunters would hear about it. She'd go to Seattle, to the address they traced to Margaret Thorne's organization, and she'd pretend to be a terrified human looking for protection from the monsters who'd kidnapped her. The hunters would take her in, question her, hopefully reveal their plans. And when she had enough information, she'd signal the pack and they'd extract her. Simple. Clean. Absolutely terrifying. The day she was supposed to leave, Mia stood at the edge of pack territory with Liam, Charlotte, and a small group of wolves who would shadow her from a distance. Last chance to back out, Charlotte said. Not a chance. Mia looked at Liam, memorizing his face. I'll see you in a few days. A few days, he agreed. And Mia? When you come back, we're having that transformation ceremony. No more waiting. I want you safe, healed, strong. I want you packed for real. Deal. Their goodbye kiss was fierce and desperate, and it took every ounce of willpower Mia had to pull away and walk toward the car that would take her to Seattle. But as she drove away, watching the pack territory disappear in the rearview mirror, the mate bond stretched thin and painful between them. She knew one thing with absolute certainty. She was coming back. She was going to get the information they needed, save her pack, and claim the life she'd chosen. Nothing, not hunters, not danger, not fear, was going to stop her. The darkest hour was coming, but dawn always followed. And Mia was determined to see that dawn as a werewolf, a Luna, and Liam's mate forever. Chapter 7: The Turning Point. Margaret Thorne's headquarters was disguised as a private security firm in downtown Seattle, complete with professional signage and a receptionist who smiled pleasantly when Mia stumbled through the door looking appropriately disheveled and terrified. "Please," Mia gasped, letting her voice shake. "Please, I need help. They're after me. The werewolves. They kidnapped me and I barely escaped and I don't know where else to go." The receptionist's professional demeanor didn't crack, but Mia saw the woman's hand move under the desk, pressing an alarm likely. "Ma'am, please calm down. You're safe here. Let me get someone to help you." Within minutes, Mia was ushered into a back room where Margaret Thorne herself waited. The hunter looked exactly as she had through the security monitors. Steel gray hair, scarred eyebrow, eyes that assessed Mia like a predator sizing up prey. "Mia Carter," Margaret said, leaning back in her chair. "The photographer who witnessed the Silverwood transformation ritual. We've been looking for you." "How do you know my name?" Mia asked, injecting genuine fear into her voice. It wasn't hard. Being this close to someone who wanted to destroy everything she'd come to care about made her skin crawl. "We have our sources. Sit." Margaret gestured to a chair across from her desk. "Tell me everything that happened. Start from the beginning." Mia launched into the cover story they'd prepared. How she'd been photographing the forest, how she'd seen the transformation, how the Alpha had taken her prisoner to prevent her from revealing their secret. She described the compound with carefully chosen details, mixing truth with misdirection, painting herself as a terrified victim desperate to escape. "And you managed to get away, how?" Margaret asked, her tone suggesting she didn't quite believe it. "They underestimated me. Thought I was too scared to try. But I grew up in foster care. I learned early how to survive, how to find opportunities." Mia met Margaret's eyes steadily. "When they were distracted by some kind of pack meeting, I stole a car and ran. I've been driving for hours hiding, terrified they'd find me." Margaret studied her for a long moment. Then she smiled. A cold, calculating expression that made Mia's stomach turn. "You're either telling the truth or you're an excellent liar. Either way, you're useful." "Useful how?" "You've been inside their compound. You've seen their layout, their numbers, their routines. That information is valuable." Margaret stood and began pacing. "The SilverwoodPack has been a thorn in our side for years. Too well defended, too well organized. But with your intel, we could finally move against them effectively." "Move against them?" Mia let horror creep into her voice. "You mean, kill them?" "They're monsters, Mia. Predators pretending to be civilized. The world is safer without them." Margaret's conviction was absolute, chilling. "I've dedicated my life to protecting humanity from supernatural threats. Werewolves, vampires, witches, they all think they're superior to us, think they can live among us without consequence. I proved them wrong. But some of them are just people. I saw children there. Families. Monsters breeding more monsters." Margaret's expression hardened. "Don't let their human faces fool you. They're animals wearing skin suits. And you, Mia, are going to help me put them down." Mia forced herself to nod, to look compliant and scared. "What do you need from me?" Over the next hour, Margaret questioned her extensively about the compound's layout, security measures, number of pack members. Mia fed her information carefully. Truth mixed with lies, details that would seem helpful but would actually lead the hunters into traps if they acted on them. She was shown to a small room with a cot and told to rest. Guards were posted outside her door, for her protection, Margaret claimed, but Mia knew she was a prisoner just as surely as she pretended to be at the pack compound. That night, alone in the dark, Mia activated the emergency signal embedded in her tooth filling. A tiny pulse, barely noticeable, that would tell Liam and the pack that she'd successfully infiltrated but was being held. And then she waited. The next day, Margaret brought Mia to what she called the lab, a facility hidden beneath the security firm's offices. What Mia saw there made her blood run cold. The stolen medical supplies from Silverwood were there, being analyzed by scientists in hazmat suits. But worse were the weapons being developed, bullets that glowed with an eerie green light, blades coated in substances that hissed and smoked, and vials of what looked like poison. "We call it Moonsbane," Margaret explained, picking up one of the vials. "Derived from your pack's own healing serums, ironically. When introduced to werewolf physiology, it doesn't just prevent healing, it actively destroys their ability to transform. 1 dose and a werewolf is trapped in whatever form they're in when it hits their system. 2 doses and their entire system shuts down. 3 doses. She smiled. 3 doses is fatal. Always. Mia felt sick. This was what they'd stolen Silverwood's research for, to create a weapon that would destroy everything that made werewolves what they were. We're planning a full assault on the Silverwood compound in 3 days, Margaret continued. During their transformation ceremony at the full moon, they'll all be vulnerable, focused on the ritual. We'll strike fast, deploy the Moonsbane, and eliminate the entire pack before they know what hit them. 3 days. The same night Mia was supposed to undergo her own transformation. That seems extreme, Mia managed. All of them, Margaret confirmed. We can't risk leaving any alive. They'll just rebuild, come after us for revenge. No, this needs to be clean and complete. Total eradication. What about the Alpha? Liam Silverwood? He's supposed to be very powerful. Margaret's eyes gleamed. He is. Which is why I have something special planned for him. A concentrated dose of Moonsbane that will trap him in wolf form permanently, followed by a bullet through his heart. I want him to die knowing his pack died first, knowing he failed to protect them. The casual cruelty of it, the pleasure Margaret took in describing Liam's death, made rage surge through Mia so intensely she had to dig her nails into her palms to keep from lunging at the woman. You seem upset, Margaret observed. Did they brainwash you? Make you sympathize with them? No, Mia said quickly. No, it's a lot. The idea of killing that many beings. Beings, Margaret repeated with disgust. They're not beings, Mia. They're things. Aberrations. The sooner you internalize that, the easier this becomes. Mia was returned to her room, her mind racing. She needed to get this information to the pack, needed to warn them about the assault. But she was being watched constantly, and she still hadn't found where they were keeping the stolen supplies or the completed Moonsbane weapons. That night, she lay on her cot and sent another signal through the tooth device. A different pattern this time. One that meant critical intel, need extraction soon. But the extraction didn't come. 1 day passed. Then another. The full moon drew closer, and Mia could feel the mate bond stretching painfully. Liam's concern and desperation bleeding through the connection. On the 3rd day, the day of the planned assault, Mia was brought before Margaret again. We move tonight, the hunter said. And you're coming with us. What? Why? Because I don't trust you. Margaret's smile was sharp. You've been helpful, yes. But there's something about you, something that doesn't quite add up. So you're going to come with us to the assault, going to watch as we destroy the pack. And if you show even a hint of sympathy, even a moment of hesitation, I'll know you were a plant and I'll kill you myself. Mia's heart was pounding. This was bad. If she was with the assault team, she couldn't warn the pack, couldn't help defend them. She'd be forced to watch as they walked into slaughter, or reveal herself and die. I understand, she said, keeping her voice steady. Good. We leave at sunset. Margaret turned away. Oh, and Mia? I know about the tracking device in your tooth. We've been jamming the signal since day 1. Whatever pack members were supposed to be shadowing you, they lost you the moment you walked through our doors. You're completely alone. I hope that comforting thought helps you make the right choices tonight. After Margaret left, Mia sat frozen in shock. The tracking device had been jammed. The pack didn't know where she was. They didn't know about the assault. They were going to walk into a massacre completely unprepared. Mia stood and began pacing, her mind racing through options. She could try to escape, but the building was locked down tight and she'd never make it out. She could try to sabotage the weapons, but she didn't have access to the lab anymore. She could. The mate bond. Mia stopped pacing, focusing inward on that golden thread connecting her to Liam. It was faint at this distance, weakened by separation and whatever jamming technology the hunters were using, but it was still there. Eleanor had said mate bonds were powerful, that they transcended normal communication. If Mia concentrated, if she pushed everything she had through that bond, could she warn Liam? There was only one way to find out. Mia sat on the cot and closed her eyes, focusing every ounce of her attention on the bond. She thought about Liam, his face, his voice, the way he'd held her that last night. She poured her fear and urgency and desperate warning through the connection like a prayer. Assault tonight. Full moon. Moonsbane weapons. They know about the tracking device. Please, Liam, please hear me. They're coming to kill you all. For a long moment nothing happened. Then, like a whisper at the edge of her consciousness, she felt something respond. Not words exactly, but emotion, surprise, recognition, understanding. And then, clear as if he'd spoken aloud in her mind. Hold on. I'm coming. Relief crashed through Mia so intensely she nearly sobbed. He'd heard her. Through the bond, across the distance, despite the jamming. He'd heard her. Now she just had to survive long enough for him to find her. Chapter 8. Climactic resolution. The assault team assembled as the sun set. 20 hunters armed with moonsbane weapons, tactical gear, and an absolute certainty that they were doing righteous work. Mia was given a bulletproof vest and told to stay in the center of the group, where Margaret could keep an eye on her. They traveled in unmarked vans, and Mia watched the landscape pass, recognizing the route to Silverwood territory. Her heart was pounding so hard she thought it might break through her ribs. Hold on, Liam had said. But hold on to what? Hope that he'd received her warning in time? Hope that the pack could defend against this level of coordinated assault? As they approached pack territory, Margaret gave final orders. Remember, we strike during the transformation ceremony. They'll be distracted, vulnerable. Deploy Moonsbane first, aim for the Alpha and his Beta. Once they're down, the rest of the pack will scatter. Pick them off systematically. What about the children? One hunter asked. No witnesses. No survivors. Margaret's tone was absolute. This is total eradication. Mia felt rage and horror war inside her. These people were talking about murdering children, families, and entire community, and they believed they were heroes. The van stopped at the edge of pack territory, and the hunters began their approach on foot. Mia was pulled along, Margaret's hand tight on her arm. Through the trees, she could see the lights of the compound, could hear the sounds of the pack gathering for the full moon ceremony. They were walking into a trap. Or were they? The hunters reached the perimeter of the compound, and Margaret signaled for them to spread out, to surround the gathering area where the transformation ceremony would take place. Mia could see pack members assembling. Liam at the center, Charlotte and Cole flanking him, the whole pack forming a circle. They had no idea the hunters were there. They were completely exposed. Mia's stomach dropped. Had her warning not gotten through after all? Was she about to watch everyone she cared about die? Then Liam's head turned, his eyes scanning the forest, and for just a moment, his gaze found hers across the distance. He smiled, and Mia understood. This was the trap. On my mark, Margaret whispered to the hunters surrounding her. 3, 2. Now. Liam's voice rang out, and the pack transformed. But not into wolves. The hunters had expected terrified werewolves caught mid-ceremony. What they got was a coordinated pack of warriors who'd been waiting for exactly this moment. The transformation happened in seconds, 70+ wolves materializing from the darkness, surrounding the hunters instead of being surrounded. It's a trap, one of the hunters screamed. Fall back. Fall back. Margaret commanded, but it was too late. The wolves were everywhere, cutting off escape routes, disarming hunters, taking them down with practiced efficiency. In the chaos, Margaret's grip on Mia tightened. You, she hissed. You warned them somehow. I did, Mia said and smiled. Because I'm not just some terrified human witness. I'm Moonborn. I'm Pack. And you made a fatal mistake when you threatened my family. Margaret raised her gun, loaded with moonsbane bullets, and aimed it directly at Mia's heart. Then you can die with them. But before she could pull the trigger, a massive silver wolf slammed into her from the side. Margaret went down hard, the gun flying from her hand, and Liam stood over her in wolf form, lips pulled back in a snarl that promised violence. Liam, no. Mia called out. She's not worth it. We need her alive to testify about the weapons, about the other hunters. Liam's amber eyes met Mia's, and she saw him struggling with the urge to rip Margaret apart. But slowly, reluctantly, he stepped back, shifting into human form. You heard her, he said coldly. You're alive because my mate has more mercy than you deserve. But make no mistake, Thorn, you're finished. Your operation is over. And every hunter you brought here is going to council custody to face justice for attempted genocide. Around them, the battle was ending. The pack had been too organized, too prepared. Every hunter was disarmed, restrained, defeated. And standing among them, coordinating the effort, was Charlotte with a look of fierce satisfaction. All secured, Alpha, she reported. No pack casualties. The hunters, on the other hand. She smiled grimly at the various injuries among Margaret's team. They'll live. Unfortunately. Council representatives were already arriving. They'd been waiting in the wings, alerted by Liam after he'd received Mia's warning through the bond. They began processing the hunters, confiscating the moonsbane weapons, gathering evidence. Liam crossed to Mia and pulled her into his arms so tightly she could barely breathe. You brilliant, terrifying, amazing woman, he murmured into her hair. Do you have any idea how scared I was? Probably about as scared as I was, Mia admitted, clinging to him. I thought the warning didn't get through. I thought you'd all die. Your warning gave us 3 days to prepare. We evacuated the children and non-combatants, set up the trap, coordinated with the council. He pulled back to look at her. You saved us, Mia. Your intelligence, your bravery. You saved the entire pack. We saved each other, Mia corrected. That's what pack does, right? That's exactly what pack does. Liam's smile was radiant. Speaking of which, there's still a full moon ceremony to complete. And a transformation that's been delayed long enough. Mia's heart skipped. You mean tonight? Now? Unless you want to wait another month? His eyes were soft, hopeful, patient. It's your choice, Mia. Always your choice. Mia looked around at the pack, at Charlotte supervising the hunter arrests with ruthless efficiency, at Cole checking on pack members to ensure no one was hurt, at Zara waving enthusiastically from where she stood with the other young wolves. She looked at the compound lit up under the full moon, at the forest surrounding them, at the community she'd come to love. And she looked at Liam, her mate, her alpha, her future. I don't want to wait, she said firmly. I'm ready. I choose this. I choose you. I choose Pack. The transformation ceremony was unlike anything Mia could have imagined. The pack formed a circle under the full moon, and Eleanor stood at the center with Mia and Liam. The healer had prepared a mixture. Part medicine, part magic, part pure moonlight somehow captured and distilled. This will hurt, Eleanor warned as Mia knelt on the ground. The transformation is rewriting your entire genetic code, changing you from human to werewolf. Your moonborn nature will help, but it's still going to be the most painful thing you've ever experienced. I understand, Mia said, though her hands were shaking. Liam knelt beside her, taking her hand. I'll be here the whole time. You won't go through this alone. Eleanor began chanting in a language Mia didn't understand, and the pack joined in. A chorus of voices rising under the moon. The healer poured the mixture over Mia's head, and the moment it touched her skin, fire erupted through her veins. Mia screamed. She couldn't help it. The pain was beyond anything she'd ever imagined. Her bones were breaking, reforming, breaking again. Her muscles tore and rebuilt. Her senses exploded with input. Smells and sounds and sensations that overwhelmed her. Through it all, Liam held her hand, murmuring encouragement. His presence the only anchor keeping her from being swept away completely. That's it, he said. You're doing it, Mia. You're transforming. Just hold on a little longer. The moon seemed to grow brighter, its light pouring down on Mia like liquid silver. And suddenly the pain shifted, not gone but transformed into something else. Power. Strength. Wild joy. Mia felt her body change one final time. Felt fur sprout from her skin. Felt her senses sharpen to impossible clarity. And when the transformation was complete, she found herself standing on 4 legs, seeing the world through wolf eyes. She was smaller than Liam's wolf form, but not by much. Her fur was dark brown with silver highlights that caught the moonlight. And when she looked at Liam, really looked at him through her new wolf vision, she could see the golden thread of their mate bond glowing between them, solid and real and unbreakable. You're beautiful, Liam's voice said in her mind, not spoken aloud, but through the pack bond that now connected her to every wolf in the circle. Absolutely beautiful. This is incredible, Mia responded, discovering she could speak back to him. I can hear everyone. Feel everyone. Welcome to Pack, Charlotte's voice joined in, and there was genuine warmth in it. Officially this time, Luna. The pack howled in unison. A sound of celebration and welcome and joy. And Mia threw back her head and howled with them, her voice joining the chorus, claiming her place among them. After the ceremony, Liam led Mia into the forest, teaching her how to run on 4 legs, how to hunt, how to be wolf. They raced through the trees under moonlight, Mia discovering speed and strength she'd never imagined, feeling more free and alive than ever before. Eventually, they stopped in a clearing, the same clearing where Mia had first seen the pack transform, where this whole incredible journey had begun. They shifted back to human form, and Liam pulled Mia into his arms, kissing her with a passion and tenderness that made her forget they were naked in the middle of the forest. I love you, he said when they finally came up for air. I've loved you since the moment I saw you, and now I get to love you forever. Forever, Mia agreed, the word no longer frightening but full of promise. I love you too, Liam. My mate, my alpha, my home. They made love there in the clearing under the full moon. The mate bond between them blazing gold and perfect. 2 souls finally complete. Chapter 9. Satisfying conclusion. 6 months later. Mia stood on the deck of the main lodge, watching the sunset paint the sky in brilliant oranges and purples. The compound had been rebuilt and reinforced after the hunter attack, stronger and more secure than ever. And Mia had been part of every decision, every improvement. She was Luna now, officially and completely. The pack had accepted her with an enthusiasm that still sometimes surprised her. Even Charlotte had become something like a friend, grudging and sarcastic but genuine. There you are, Liam's voice came from behind her, and Mia smiled as his arms wrapped around her waist, pulling her back against his chest. I've been looking for you. Just enjoying the view, Mia said, leaning into him, and thinking about how much has changed. Good changes. The best changes. Mia turned in his arms to face him. Did you hear back from the council about Margaret Thorne's trial? Guilty on all counts. She'll spend the rest of her life in supernatural prison, along with everyone in her organization who participated in the assault. Liam's expression was satisfied. And the Moonsbane research has been destroyed, the weapons decommissioned. The council's taking the hunter threat more seriously now, establishing better protocols to prevent attacks. Good. Mia had testified at the trial, standing before the supernatural council and telling her story. It had been terrifying and empowering in equal measure. What about the other packs? The ones the hunters were targeting. Warned and protected. Several have actually reached out about establishing alliances with Silverwood. Liam smiled. You've made us famous, Luna. The human-turned-werewolf who infiltrated hunters and saved her pack. You're becoming a legend. I just did what needed to be done. Which is exactly what makes you a good leader. Liam kissed her forehead. Speaking of which, Charlotte wants to discuss expansion of the medical facilities. Apparently, your success has inspired other packs to be more open to turning Moonborn humans, and we're getting requests to share our research. Mia laughed. 6 months ago, I was a photographer living alone with a cat. Now I'm fielding requests to revolutionize werewolf society. This is surreal. Do you miss it? Your old life. Mia considered the question seriously. She'd retrieved Pixel from her old apartment, and the cat had adapted to pack life with surprising ease. She still did photography, now documenting pack life in the supernatural world for the council's archives. But everything else, the loneliness, the feeling of being adrift, the sense that she didn't quite fit anywhere, that was gone. I don't miss it at all, she said honestly. This is my life now. You're my life. The pack is my family. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Good, Liam said softly, because I have something to ask you. He pulled back and to Mia's shock dropped to one knee. Liam, what are you? We're already mated. We're already bonded for life. I know, but mate bonds are supernatural pack law. I want to make this official in human terms too. He pulled out a ring, simple silver with a moonstone that caught the dying light. Mia Carter, Luna of SilverwoodPack, love of my life, will you marry me? Tears filled Mia's eyes. You know I'm going to say yes, right? The mate bond means I'm literally incapable of wanting anyone else. I know, but I wanted to ask anyway. Wanted to give you the choice, the proposal, the romance. You deserve all of it. His eyes were soft, vulnerable. So what do you say? Yes, Mia said, laughing through her tears. Yes, I'll marry you. In every way possible, human and supernatural, forever and always, yes. Liam slipped the ring onto her finger and stood, pulling her into a kiss that made the mate bond sing with joy. Around them, the pack began emerging from buildings, whooping and cheering. Apparently, they'd all been in on this proposal. Zara was crying happy tears. Charlotte was actually smiling. Cole was already organizing what sounded like a massive celebration. You told everyone? Mia asked Liam. I had to get pack approval for the ring design, and the proposal location, and the timing. He grinned. Turns out, being alpha means very little when your pack wants to help plan a proposal. They had opinions. So many opinions. That night, the pack celebrated with a feast and music and dancing that lasted until dawn. Mia was passed from pack member to pack member, receiving congratulations and well wishes, feeling the love and acceptance that had seemed impossible just 6 months ago. As the sun began to rise, Mia and Liam slipped away to their private cabin, the one they'd built together, away from the main compound but still on pack territory. It was their sanctuary, their home. They stood on the porch watching the sunrise, Liam's arms around Mia. The mate bond golden and perfect between them. Do you ever think about that night? Mia asked quietly. When I stumbled into the clearing? Every day, Liam admitted. I think about how close I came to losing you before I ever really found you. If the pack had been more aggressive, if I'd made a different choice, if you'd run instead of trusting me, we might never have had this. But we did have this. We do have this. Mia turned to face him. And we're going to have centuries more. Centuries of sunrises and moonlit runs and building our life together. Centuries, Liam agreed. Though I'm hoping for millennia if I can manage it. Greedy wolf. Only when it comes to you. He kissed her slow and deep and full of promise. I love you, Mia Silverwood soon to be. I love you too, Liam. My alpha, my mate, my forever. They went inside as the sun climbed higher, shutting out the world for a few hours to simply be together. And later, when Mia emerged to find Zara already planning the wedding, Charlotte debating security protocols for the ceremony, and the whole pack buzzing with excitement, she felt nothing but joy. This was her life now. These were her people. This impossible, wonderful, supernatural family that had accepted a random human photographer and transformed her into something more. 6 months ago, the moonlight had exposed her, and an alpha had howled and she'd fallen. Deeply. Completely. Forever. And she wouldn't change a single moment of it. 1 year later, Mia stood in the clearing where it all began, her hand resting on her slightly rounded belly, feeling the flutter of new life within her. Eleanor had confirmed it last week. She was pregnant. The first Moonborn turned werewolf to carry a natural-born werewolf child. Another first, another wonder, another gift. Liam came up behind her, his hand covering hers over their child. How are you feeling? Perfect, Mia said honestly. A little scared, a lot excited, completely in love with our baby already. Just like their mother, brave and beautiful. Liam kissed her temple. And just like their father, stubborn and protective. This kid doesn't stand a chance, do they? Mia laughed. Not even a little bit. But they'll be surrounded by Pack, loved beyond measure, and taught that family isn't always blood, sometimes it's choice. Liam turned Mia to face him. Thank you. For what? For stumbling into my life. For choosing to stay. For giving me a future I'd stopped believing I could have. His eyes were suspiciously bright. For loving me when I'd forgotten how to love myself. You gave me the same thing, Mia said softly. A home. Purpose. A family. Everything I've been searching for my entire life. They stood together in the moonlight, exactly where their story began, now writing its next chapter. Around them the forest whispered with life and magic. Above them the moon shone bright and full. And in Mia's heart, the mate bond sang with joy, with love, with the certainty that she was exactly where she belonged. Where the moonlight had exposed her, the alpha had howled and she had fallen. And in falling she had found everything. Then, thank you so much for being here with me on Mia and Liam's journey. What a ride that was. If you loved this story, please drop a comment below and let me know your favorite moment. Was it the transformation? The infiltration? The proposal? I want to hear it all. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because I've got so many more stories coming your way. Stories of love and danger, of supernatural romance and impossible choices, of ordinary people discovering they're capable of extraordinary things. I love each and every one of you and I'll see you in the next story. Until then, stay wild, stay wonderful, and remember, sometimes the best adventures start when you stumble into the wrong place at exactly the right time. Love you all.